Hello and welcome to my channel, you beautiful people of YouTube. So, today we have a review of the Koss KSC75 for you guys. This is the one I'm gonna review right now, and let's get into it. So, by the way, printed out the whole thing. It takes me back to my days when I was studying mass media, write a piece, perform it in front of the class of 30 people. Everybody went around writing the same story and performed the same story, the same piece, talked about it, and you had to listen to the same story 30 times in journalism classes. So anyway, this headphone, I was listening to this headphone and 600 ohm bare dynamic DD880, which I did a small mod to, and which is serving as my reference headphone right now. As far as neutrality is considered, that is one of the most neutral headphones I heard, and I did this mod and it was so neutral. It is serving as my reference right now. And when I was comparing, I was listening back to back this $15 headphone with that 600 ohm headphone, which I bought for about $169, used to be $500. And there was something interesting I found out. Watch the video to find out what I found. Now, if I knew editing, I would do a cool transition. But since I don't, I will snap my fingers for you guys 3 times so you know it is time to get into the review. Okay, so as always, let's start with the build and comfort of these headphones. Now, there is not a lot to talk about the build except for the fact that it is an open back design, as you can see in the little holes here, and the basic concept of it is this ear hook which rests on your ear right now. Right now I can't show you because I have this thing on, but it will rest on, this thing will rest on top of your ear, and that will hold the driver close to you, right on against your ear. Now, I've seen other headphones like that before. I heard other headphones like that before. I think there was a Sony one that I heard, but they were not as good as this. Nothing really was as good as this in the ear hook design headphones. Now, comfort is good with these, but it will largely depend on how your ears are shaped. One of my friends has the ears that go out like that, and these things just dangle. They don't stay right. They don't stay close to his ear at all. The good news is that if you don't like the comfort of this headphone, you can actually buy a headband, and you can pop these hooks off and put the driver on the headband, thereby modding it into a headband design. You can actually do that. And there is a lot of mods for this particular headphone that I'll talk about at the end of the video, because I need to talk about other things first. And let's move into the sound of this headphone. When I was hearing these headphones, I was comparing it mostly against the Koss Porta Pros. And the first thing I want to talk about is bass. And Porta Pros are $40, these are $15. And the only thing that Portas are sold as superior to this KSC, in my opinion, is the bass. KSC75 doesn't really disappoint in the bass department. You feel the punch of the bass and you feel the deepness of the bass, but there just isn't a lot of it. Porta Pro, in contrast, has a bigger body and more impact of the bass, though it can get a little bloomy at times. The best analogy I can use to describe the difference between the bass of these two headphones is as following. Imagine that you are a fisherman in Maldives and you go out to fish in the sea, and you got two nets. They are both made from the same material, one but one net is just bigger, and that net, the bigger net, is porta. These are the smaller net. So as far as the bass is concerned, in my opinion. Now, you will definitely enjoy the modern hip hop more on the porta. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, got a cool new headphone rack. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me know what you think. I actually did not buy it. I got it for free. Anyway, getting back to the video, the topic at hand. Now that was the base of the KSC75. Now let's talk about the mid-range. The strength of this headphone is mid-range. And I know that I said the exact same thing when I was talking about the Porta Pros, and you guys would naturally ask me, okay, so which one has better mids? Is it Porta Pros or is it KSC75? Without a doubt, without a shadow of doubt, KSC75 has better mids, vocals, mid-range than Porta Pros. It beats Porta Pros in every single characteristic of the mid-range. It has better resolution than Porta Pros in mid-range. It has better details. Clarity is the thing that it does the best in the mid-range. If you pop on the Porta Pros and then you hear to these, you will say, oh my god, the clarity. I can hear everything now. Very natural, kinda intimate, not so much. Great vocals. Moving on to the highs. The highs of this headphone, they're airy and they're detailed, they're well extended, but they're not very natural sounding. They sound sort of artificial, and that is not a bad thing necessarily. But here's the thing, let me give you the analogy I was gonna use to describe the highs was about implants, but I cannot do that these days because YouTube has gotten very family friendly. So I'm going to use another analogy that is just as good. Now, I don't know if you guys know this. You probably know it, you don't, but recording studios used to record on an analog system before 80, 79, 80. I don't know the exact year in the 80s that they switched to a digital system, but most of them. But before that, they were using an analog system. And when you take a record that was recorded on an analog system back before 80s, and you take a digital copy of it in a digital format on a digital system, and you hear those digitally, I mean, you hear that you play the digital format of it, and then you right after you play the analog version of it on a vinyl player or whatever, you feel something is missing. And the thing that is missing is the naturalness of the sound. That is exactly how the highs feel in this headphone to me. They're very detailed, very airy, but the naturalness is missing. And when you pop on a proper headphone like HD600, which I know is $250-$300, no comparison at all, but the highs, though a little bit weird, they are still more natural than this. So that is my thing. I'm not saying that the highs are bad on this. The highs are actually fantastic, just not natural. That is it. Okay, so soundstage. decent, airy, wide soundstage, but it is not going to blow your mind. Let's take it is somewhere in between HD 600 and a headphone like Superlux 668B, which is a very wide sounding headphone. X2, planars, whatever you want to take for example, but it sounds like somewhere in the middle, not the widest out there. Imaging. Talking about imaging, that is one area where this disappointed me a little bit, because it is serviceable but it is not super good. It doesn't do front and back very well, and you got left to right, right to left imaging, and even within that sphere of sound, the placement of sound is not done very well. Even the center imaging sounded a little bit off to the right to me, and I wasn't expecting this $15 ear hook design to be imaging as well as stacks. Imaging is something that expensive headphones usually do better. And average, I would say average imaging left to right, not like HD 800 where everything you can pinpoint where everything is. And that is why I do not recommend these headphones for gaming. You're better off getting something different. Maybe you spend a little bit more and get that $50 HyperX Stinger that I reviewed. I will also link that in the description. Now, you gotta talk about the mods. There is a bunch of mods for this headphone, this particular headphone, and I'm only going to list the ones that I think are which I deem are warranted. Kramer mod, good for the Porta Pros, not good for this one. I think it screws up with the sound too much and it is non-reversible. Alright, so there are three basic mods that I'll talk about. Number one is the headband. I will link that in the description. Well, when you use the headphone, it increases the bass a little bit, and it subtracts the soundstage a little bit, and you might prefer that kind of sound. I'm not saying it is a bad sound. Some people like airy headphones. Some people like headphones with a little bit more bass. It is still going to stay a airy headphone with a good sound stage, but it is not going to turn into a bass monster. But that was the thing that the headband did. Now the second mod is the Yaxi. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'll leave the link. Yaxi pads for the Porta Pro. They are a little bit thicker and they darken up the sound a little bit, which means that they reduce the treble a little bit and you hear more of that mid-range. And a lot of people, their favorite combination is to get the headband and get the Yaxi pads. So that is the combination they like. And I do not prefer that kind of sound for this headphones, but I do approve it. Now the last mod that I did personally, which I think is best, there is a guy on YouTube whose channel is named Mad Lust Envy. I will link up his video in the description. So what he does is that he took the ear hooks off the headphone and he bent them a little bit to this side inwards, and to me that changed the sound to how I liked it best. And watch the video, see if that is what you want to do before you spend money or do a mod that is not reversible. That bending thing, it does not cost anything. It is free and you can reverse it if you want. And that is what I found that makes them sound best to my preferences. Now to sum it up, it is the best headphone available open back under $25. Even if you got a Utopia, Stax, SR009, even that freaking electrostatic, I'm forgetting the name of the thing that is $50,000. Why cannot I remember the name? Sennheiser thing. And Shangri-La is the hi-fi man one, the Sennheiser Orpheus. And they changed the model. They don't like you to call Orpheus it no more. They HE one or something like that. Anyway, if you own that $50,000 headphone, I still recommend that you buy this one. Not because it sounds as good, because it is just more convenient. People don't realize that ear hooks are actually more convenient than headband. And I had the headband on. It was cheaply made. I could have a better headband on these, but I found the ear hooks to be just way more convenient. That is just me. And yeah, definitely check it out. $15, not a lot. And see what a titanium coated driver that cost $15 can do for you. And that was my review, and I'll see you guys next time. You all have a great weekend. Love ya.